I'm hitting record and letting people in. Welcome, everyone. This is Adam Beebe. I'm the broker for the website, the business moderntribe.com. I'm joined by the owner, the seller, Jennifer Rivlin. That's pronounced correctly, Rivlin?
That's correct.
Okay, I look to be correct. I just always have called you Jenny. So, okay, again, welcome everyone. Some housekeeping. If you're listening to this presentation live, you can ask questions. You need to do so via the chat functionality in the GoToMeeting seminar, the GoToWebinar seminar. It's the same thing. I'll ask the question. Jenny and I are going to be the only people speaking. Be assured that your question is going to be asked verbatim. It may not be asked the moment you ask it. And the reason being is I'm going to keep questions within the topic. So if we're talking about revenue, you ask about traffic, I'll wait until we're talking about traffic. There will be a last call for questions. So if you came in late, if you came in late, you're not hearing this, but there will be a last call for questions. So if you think of something after we're talking about a specific topic, we'll revisit that at the very end. If you haven't already done so, please dial into the audio, which I would imagine you have, unless you're just seeing the screen and reading it. So welcome everyone again, listening live. People listening, this recording will be up on Latona's by noon Eastern tomorrow, maybe up very much sooner than that. So check back, and you can listen to part or all of what you missed or what you're wanting to rehear. So without further delay, this is available for anybody to see on the listing page of Latona's. This is the trailing 12 months of revenue, expenses, cost of goods sold, COGS, profits, and asking price for this business, this website. Throughout the presentation, I'm going to Modern Tribe is site, is business. I'll use those terms interchangeably. If anyone listening here has probably signed up for a free Latona's account, once you've done that, you can not hear as much, but when you're on Latona's, you can click on the blue numbers for revenue, COGS, expenses, uniques, and page views, and that will expand into a monthly graph that will show the trailing 12 months of that specific category. So what we have here is a PR4 site, which has been around for right at 9 years. So it's 3 coming up on 9 years.
That's correct.
And Jenny, what we have here is 3, let's see, it's the history, it's your Facebook, and it's the Wayback screen. So we've got 3 slides here. What we want to achieve within the next minute or two is a full recap of the past 9 years. No.
Okay.
we just need, hey, why did you start Modern Tribe? What permutations has the site business had? I know that there was the opening and the closing of a brick and mortar store, but kind of, chronologically speaking, start us at the beginning, roll up to present day. It's not going to be an exhaustive discussion, but
Sure.
just the highlights over the past 9 years. Last thing, Jenny, during the history section and then also the admin section, I'm putting myself on mute so there's no ambient noise. I'm also going to be addressing questions offline with people here. So you're typing. There'll be a slight delay when you're done talking, so I can unmute myself. I'm still here, though. So why don't you let us know about the history of the business, please?
Sure. So the business started, the idea for the business started 10 years ago when I was noticing that there was an opportunity in the Judaica world to provide a retail shopping experience online that was more in line with what other people were experiencing with secular brands. Also, I realized there was an opportunity to provide products that were more appealing to what I have now call younger or hipper Jews. Things that are more design forward and more playful and fun, and also create a shopping experience that's accessible, warm, welcoming. And so that's the opportunity that I saw, and that's what I set out to do. So that we launched the business in 2007, along with our flagship product, which was No Limit Texas Dreidel. We used that initial popularity of that product to really build up the notoriety and traffic at moderntribe.com. It worked. And then the retail side grew to the over couple thousand products that we offer currently. We're still considered on a smaller end in terms of the number of products that we offer for a Judaica site, but as you can see, our selection has been curated and focused on design forward and funny Jewish gifts. So that started in 2007. I ran the business out of my basement all those years until 2013, when we were offering a line of products for Thanksgiving. If some of you are Jewish, you might remember Thanksgiving, when Thanksgiving and Hanukkah crossed over back in 2013. We had tremendous success with that line of product. Our business exploded. We did over $500,000 of sales that year. I quickly had to move out of my basement into a temporary space, and we created a Thanksgiving pop-up, and we moved all the warehousing, which is what we really needed. We had so many orders we couldn't possibly work out of the basement anymore. So 2013 was when our kind of oddness and divergence from being only an online store took place. So we moved into a temporary space. We stayed there for 3 months. We moved out of that space back into the basement, and then we moved into our current space, and we've been here for almost 2 years. So 2014 was a pretty tumultuous year for us. We moved 3 times in the span of 6 months. We also, in 2014, decided that we really needed to move our website. Back in 2007, if you'll recall, the options for e-commerce were pretty limited. There was Yahoo stores that people used, so we actually built our own website back then, and I've been paying to maintain it and paying developers to update it all those years, and it just was the capabilities and the expectations for websites had changed so much by 2012, probably 2013. I knew we had to switch platforms. So in 2014, we moved to Shopify, which we are very happy with. We love it. And now 2015 was both 2014 and 2015 were both brick and mortar and online sales. Does that answer your question?
Yes, the aforementioned unmute, and yes, excellent. And that does answer not only mine, but other questions or people's questions. Your Facebook presence, how long have you been on Facebook?
Since the beginning, and if people who've been online for this long know that Facebook's gone through a few iterations of different options for businesses, and I can't remember when they actually came up with pages. There was groups for a while. And, yeah, anyway, so the page has, whenever Facebook launched pages is when we've had pages. So yes, we have over 6,000 people who have liked it, which can be pretty active Facebook page in terms of interacting with customers during the busy times of year. So that would be Passover is what we're currently in, and then Hanukkah is the big season, and Passover is like a little blip of a season for us as well.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. This is something I can mention. It's showing most of its impressions through the archive.org Wayback Machine, starting in '07, which is consistent with when the site went live. There were, the domain was actually, and it was doing something else all the way back into 2001. But there shows quite a bit of activity here, which bolsters what we're reporting here. You do have Google Analytics on the site, and this screenshot is from March 3rd, 2015 through April 2nd, 2016. So it's a week to, well, what's that, 10 days, in that range, 11 days? But we're getting the gist of it. And as Jenny mentioned, I know that November, December are your big months. Is that correct?
Yep. Absolutely. I mean, we'll do 40 or 50% of our business during those months. Yeah. And then you see Passover over there in April, which, for those of you, if there are people on listening to this who are not Jewish, the Jewish holidays follow, or Jewish calendar is lunar. So the months, our standard months don't always, it's not the same time every year according to our standard Gregorian calendar. So like this last year, Passover was much earlier, so you see the spike in late March, and then this year Passover isn't happening until the end of April. So if you go through and look at our analytics, you'll see the humps following Passover and Hanukkah.
Okay. All right. Um, the majority of the which is a good thing. The majority of the traffic comes from the U.S. here.
Yes,
Um,
we made a decision early in the business. I made the decision early just to focus on the United States. Um, in terms of marketing, we do get orders from all over the world, but I've really focused on just the United States, trying to um, market and get penetrate that market.
okay. Have you done anything since then? I know that was the initial and continues to be the main focus. Are you focusing on any other countries?
No, I have not.
Okay, that's good. Organic search is the vast majority of the traffic you get. Um,
Mhm.
I know, and Jenny, I know some of these answers. Have you ever paid for traffic?
Yes, so you see paid search there. It's almost all Google AdWords.
Okay, all right.
We're
Uh,
using the shopping. We use Google we pay for the shopping, which it used to be free, if you'll remember, but I believe it's very important, and we do, like a significant amount of sales. Obviously, not nearly what we get through organic or direct or referral, but I think it's still important.
okay, and we'll get to other social media platforms that you have here shortly. These are keywords that you're ranking for, as
Yeah.
everyone on this call can attest to. Not provided as everyone's main keyword. These are obviously related to Judaic and Jewish products,
Yes.
and that's pretty basic, understandable. This is where people are ending up on your site.
hmm
These are call to action pages. Are these checkout pages?
One is our bat mitzvah gift guide. Well, obviously, the number one is the homepage. Number two is the bat mitzvah gift guide. Number three is the Nice Jewish Guys calendar. It's a specific product that is very popular. So, should I continue telling people what these different landing pages are?
I think we get the feel for it, and that's fine.
Okay.
It's just,
Okay.
I think just the theme of it is that there are multiple pages getting traffic and getting interest. Um, source here, the how about reviewing some of these sites here? Obviously, number five, Modern Tribe. Anything
Right.
worthwhile you think as far as any of
Yes,
these sites go?
we have a really nice relationship with Kveller. Kveller is an online magazine for Jewish parents, mostly mothers. It's perfect for our target market, which is our core market. I haven't said this yet, is our Jewish American women aged 25 to 45. That's who we go after, and that's actually who we get core-wise. And so Kveller is an online magazine. We have a very nice relationship with them, and you can see that we make sales through that relationship.
Great. Okay. Um, is the site fully responsive?
You mean mobile to mobile apps?
Correct. Yes.
Yes, yes. So it has a separate template for the phones, and then the website is responsive and adjustable for iPads and tablets.
Okay. Good. And as people can see here, there is quite a bit of activity via mobile, which is good because people wouldn't be coming back there if the mobile presence wasn't good. It's approaching the desktop, so that's a good sign. Uh, these are things that, Jenny, correct me if I'm wrong, you sent us here recently. I want you to talk more about this if you would. So, what are we
Sure.
looking at right now?
So these are linking domains, and you'll see some very authoritative domains linking to Modern Tribe, like CNN, Wall Street Journal, Huffington Post, Mashable, Time, Gizmodo, Daily Mail, BuzzFeed, Boing Boing. These are all PR that we have received through the years that have mentioned Modern Tribe and linked to us. So we have lots and lots of these very good quality links. That was always something that I have enjoyed doing, is reaching out to the media, and I think it's really helped us in terms of building a strong, robust content and links so that we have maintained really good organic search. Very important, organic search.
And thank you for that. I was just interacting with someone. External backlinks. Have you ever done link exchanges?
No. No, not really. I mean, I had years ago, we had a separate blog back when it wasn't integrated into websites, if you'll remember. And I think we did some like little ads on the side of the blog. But other than that, no, I do
Okay.
not do link exchanges. And I did not do, and it did not engage in any like weird SEO stuff. I've always just gone for quality, and it's worked.
Okay. Um, these are relating to, and I don't know why we put that in. This is what I want to get to.
Hmm.
Interfaithfamily.com. Everyone knows what a Wikipedia is. Anything
Hmm.
other than Wikipedia that you want to talk to as far as backlinks you have?
I mean, I think I addressed that earlier with the domains that have links, and you can find the actual links if you explore these. I'm not sure exactly how you got these backlinks and why you chose these particular backlinks, but I mean, they're just indicative of the kinds of PR that we end up getting.
Yeah, anybody can go to
So,
Majestic SEO. Anybody can access this, and I know you took one
yeah,
step further and sent us that page. So
right.
that right. So let's rush past that. This just speaks to the worth of the traffic that's coming to Modern Tribe. Again, anyone here on the phone, we click the U.S. traffic. This is SEM Rush, and you can see, as already mentioned, the vast majority of the traffic comes via organic. There is some Google AdWords that are done. There is a decent amount of social media as well that comes in. Um, okay, organic keywords,
Hmm.
modern menorah,
Hmm.
uh, Judaic, which I'm sure is pretty big actually. Jewish gifts, those are great
Hmm.
keywords
Yep.
to be
Yep.
ranking for.
Yep. They're
Um,
excellent.
okay, great. So you obviously someone knows what they're doing, and that's great.
Yes. Yes.
Now we already talked about backlinks and referring domains. I want to skip past this because I want to talk more. We're going to go into the admin section here and
Hmm.
reasonably soon, but I want to underscore what a lot of people listening live and recording or the recording of this know. As far as it being holiday driven, there is a very big spike November and December. Jenny, I think you said 40% of the business
Yep.
historically. So that
Yep.
is the reason why we're looking at this is actually a pretty stable chart, just above consistently 10,000 uniques a month in, month out, except four times that amount in November and December. Um,
Hmm. And you
and
can see the same pattern going back all 9 years.
that's what I was going to ask. So great. And
Yeah.
then this is a mirror image. The people are looking at roughly 5 pages, which would stand to reason. 10 times 5, 50. Whatever it is, 5 times 40, 200. So that's kind of consistent with that as well. Um, okay. This is the time, Jenny, where it may have been 7, 9. I don't know how many admin screens you sent us.
Okay.
But what you're going to be talking about is just what we see on the screen. And when you're done talking about what we're seeing on the screen, just simply say next, and I'm going to do
Okay.
that.
So,
I'm going to
Adam,
go ahead.
do you think that our listeners are familiar with the Shopify admin?
Well, I kind of kick it off like that.
Mhm.
Most people who would be listening to that are going to be, because that's a pretty standard e-commerce atmosphere, if you will. Um,
Mhm.
but I was going to ask, what do you use for your e-commerce? Go into that. And I think the theme of your question, you don't have to be elementary as it relates to what Shopify is. Just identify it and and just as it relates to what we're looking at,
Sure.
what you would be doing in each screen. That's all that needs to be addressed.
Okay. Okay.
So I'll
So
put myself on
Shopify.
mute, and when you're done talking about a specific screen, just say next.
Okay. So Shopify is a software as service. We pay monthly to rent this platform. We are very, very happy with it. One of the reasons I switched to Shopify is because it's got a really robust, very active app community. So there's hundreds of third-party apps that you can install and uninstall with a click of a button, and it allows us to add and take away functionality as we need it or we want it. And so I've done a lot of experimenting. I think that the new owners could do more experimenting with which features end up boosting conversion value or lead to a value add. So that's the main reason why we switched to Shopify. The user interface is fabulous. They continuously update it. It's wonderful. Okay, so what we're looking at here is our orders. As you can see, we have all the order information, and it gives us the different statuses about payment and fulfillment. So that allows us to go in and really quickly see, what items do we need to, or what orders and items do we need to fulfill, and just process all the fulfillment for the day. So next. Okay, oh, this is me illustrating that it integrates directly in with Google Shopping. Again, I feel like Google Shopping is very important. When it was free, it was fabulous because we would get free traffic, free organic traffic, but now you have to pay. So anyway, this integrates with it. It's wonderful. Next. Next slide, please. Okay. Oh, this is my illustration of apps that are available. These are some of our installed apps, but like there are hundreds, if not thousands, of options for you to try out with the click of a button and see if it's something that makes your business better. Operations-wise, marketing-wise, customer service-wise, I mean, it's on all different aspects of your business, these apps. Okay, next slide. So this is also showing that the Shopify backend integrates seamlessly with Facebook and creates a Facebook shop. Next slide. This is showing you navigation, and so the website, in terms of the menus that are going to show on the top bar or the left bar, are easily changed simply by creating either a new navigation menu or creating or editing the navigation menu. I could simply, the first section says about us. If I wanted to rearrange the way those show up on the website, I simply just drag and drop. Wonderfully easy. Next slide. Okay, so this is just showing you some statistics that come from the website, its own analytics. I mean, Google Analytics, I think, is absolutely the best, and I use it all the time, but I think this is just nice to have a quick overview of what's happening on your website. Next. Oh, this is a slide that is showing us some of the reporting features. This is the gross sales by product type. So you can simply run a report for any time period to find out what your top sales are, how much revenue you generated from those different products. You can also do report filters, so I can look at just a product type of t-shirts, or I can look at just vendors of a particular type. Like if I want to just look at decor craft and what products I sold from Decorcraft over a certain time period. It's really lovely. You can even pull customer lists this way. So I can pull all customers who bought a T-shirt from me in 2015, and that's lovely for marketing. Next slide. Okay, and this is a sales report, so showing sales by month. You can easily, again, choose your dates, and you get your sales by month. And that is, I believe, for 2015 to, I think it's 2015. Yeah. Okay, next slide. Next slide. Okay, let's see what this is. This is our product list. So this is the product administration. So this is where I'd go if I wanted to add products, delete products, edit products. You'd click on the link right there, and it would take you to the product page, and you'd be able to edit your product, add photos. There's a copy function. So if you're adding a lot of products that are similar, you can simply copy, and it's very fast and very easy. Next slide. That's another slide of the fulfillment. I think that's a duplicate of orders. Yeah, you can move on to the next slide. Okay, we're out of there. So do people have questions? Do people have questions about the admin?
Yeah, no, and that's what I was doing, Jenny. While
Oh,
I was on mute, I was interacting with any questions that came in.
yeah.
Um, a lot. I always find this out. You know, I don't know how many slides. There were 10 slides, maybe, but someone would ask a question, and it was better addressed and then answered on a different slide. So it was more general questions which were addressed on slides after the questions were asked. So nothing remaining. Obviously, anybody listening here, if there remains to be anything unclear as to the admin section, we actually have a slide coming up that asks for day-to-day operations. We can touch upon it then, as well as our last call for questions and answers. That'll be our last slide. So great job on that, Jenny. You did answer questions that come up, and either I answered them or you did later.
Okay.
Revenue, this is a mirror image of the uniques, and as other than obviously there's dollars associated with it, this is the amount of money coming in. This isn't, we've got cost of goods sold coming up. The peak, the 40%, as you can see, is within November and December.
Mm-hmm.
Really, anything else you care to add to that, Jenny?
I think there's a lot. I think for a purchaser, there's a lot of opportunity to make the business less seasonal. Um, so anyway, we're, like I said, in terms of, even though we're top 10 website in terms of traffic, the number of products that we have compared to other Judaica sites is tiny. I mean, the big guys in the Judaica world have thousands, tens of thousands of products, and so I think there's opportunity to make this curve a little less steep and raise those sales during the off seasons. Next slide.
Okay. These are the cost of goods sold that we're reporting.
Mm-hmm.
This is
It's a
what you
direct.
go ahead.
I was going to say it's a direct reflection of sales.
January, February, and March.
Yes. So I haven't calculated those yet.
Okay. And those
That's
will be available
something that I need to
definitely
get to.
down the road.
Yeah.
Anyone interested asking that can be calculated. Expenses, these are also mentioned as to what they are
Yes.
in the listing themselves, but that's shipping, handling, well, shipping supplies. What else? Again, it's in the listing and in the prospectus, but tell us what your fixed and somewhat variable. The shipping would be variable expenses depending on the amount, but what are some fixed
Right.
expenses you have?
Okay, so well, variable would be our freight, our shipping supplies, our advertising is variable. So the fixed expenses are our business liability insurance and workman's comp. If you choose to have that in Georgia, actually we don't actually have to have workman's comp because we're under a specific size. But when I moved into the brick and mortar store, I felt it was important to have workman's comp. I also have significant business liability for both the product that I have and also for an umbrella policy that was required for my lease. So that's probably an expense that could be lowered by another owner. Our internet software service is a chunk of expenses every month. We pay for using the Shopify and the apps that go with Shopify, and then we have other software service that I use for doing research or for we have a chat function and our affiliate software, and all of that is part of that expense. Um, Transaction fees is something that is variable. Labor, we have um, I have right now I have a manager because of the brick and mortar and the online who worked in both spaces, and then also employees that work only in the warehouse for fulfillment, and that labor is ramped up during the holiday season. Not Passover, but in the Hanukkah season. Rent and telephone, internet, utilities, those are expenses.
Okay. There's three sides. One, two, three. I'm going to put myself on mute. When you're done talking about the content of each slide, let me know. I'll start it off. Um, your skill set's different than mine. So an hour of your time is worth more than an hour of my time with a whole host of things. But let's, 9 years ago when you started the site, can you tell us what you brought into when you were developing the business, and then possibly what you've learned over it, kind of the Reader's Digest, if you will. I'm sure there's a whole host of it, but mostly, you know, what what were you trained as before you started this business, and what skills have you picked up running it over the past 9 years, so people listening can say, okay, I've got all that, or okay, I may need someone to help me out on that, and then just go into what you do on a daily basis, and then when you're done talking about that, let me know. I'll advance.
Okay. Well, before starting this business, I worked for large corporations as an industrial and organizational psychologist. So I had no experience with e-commerce, with retail, um, obviously not with online retail. So learned all that as we went, and honestly, the way things were 9 years ago was a lot harder than the way they are today because of the software as service that's available today is just so user friendly. Um, I mean, 9 years ago, we had to build the website. We had to figure out what kind of functionality we wanted, and then every update was difficult. And now everything is so easy. It's just nothing. When I started, I did everything, all aspects of the job, customer service and fulfillment and just everything for day to day. I haven't done the day-to-day operations of the business for years now. My employees do the day-to-day operations, and I focus on the things that I like to do, which are buying and marketing, social media, um, and product development. So that's what I've been doing for the last several years, and the day-to-day operations are handled by my employees. So does that answer the question, or should I go into some more detail?
No, I was just addressing something here with someone.
Uh-huh.
So, and I'm sorry. I sometimes, if I'm answering something, I'm listening, but I'm focusing more on this. Uh, you personally, not your employees, how much time do you, other than November and December, what consistently? And we're not talking about times where you may be switching business models. When it was on autopilot, so to speak, how many hours did you
Right.
spend? How many hours a week, if you would, or
And in terms of how many hours a week I would spend doing like buying and managing the employees and that kind of stuff, very little. I'd say 4 hours a week. I was always, and like, I don't think there's ever been too much down. Well, that's not true, that there has never been too much downside. It just seems like the last couple of years there has been no downtime because I really started this other branch of the business, which was the brick and mortar store. Um, so very little time. It kind of runs itself at this point in terms of, I mean, obviously I have employees that are doing the customer service and the fulfillment, but they know how to do all that, and it requires very little of my time. Now, if somebody wants to do all that themselves, then they would need to engage in that customer service, fulfillment, if they're fulfilling, if they have their own warehouse as opposed to a third party, et cetera.
okay, that does address that. Thank you.
Okay.
Site growth and future expectations. This is where, Jenny, if you were to keep the site, and
Yeah.
what would you do to grow the site? I know you touched upon it, but let's spend some time on that.
Okay. Well, I think that in somebody else's hands who would, I think expanding the product offerings is a huge opportunity, and like I said, we're pretty limited in the amount of products that we offered. We there, I know there's a huge market in like kosher foods and kosher wines, and we have never gotten into that kind of space. We also, I feel like being in Atlanta, I know this is an online business, but I think that as in any business, relationships are really important, and being out in the world and having those relationships is important. I think being in Atlanta was a bit of a disadvantage for this serving this marketplace because it's not a big Jewish town. Um, New York, LA, Chicago, Miami. I mean, there's 10 other cities in the United States that have larger Jewish populations. And I think, again, like being able to develop those relationships like I developed with Kveller, which drives a lot of traffic, is something that I think somebody else could probably do a better job, and it would grow the business. Another area that I've never explored is reaching out to the Christian community. Having the brick and mortar store, it has made it very apparent to me that there's a ton of interest in Judaism from Christians, particular groups of Christians who want to learn about what Jesus did. And it's something that I never explored online, but it's possibly something that would grow the business. Obviously, there are a lot more Christians than there are Jews. In fact, I don't think this would be a bad acquisition for a Christian bookstore, but it's not something that I'm particularly interested in doing. The other thing I want to say is that when I was running Modern Tribe, I had a big, or I guess still do have a big social desire. So I had a big social mission that I was trying to accomplish, which is making Judaism more appealing to this next generation. So I think that steered a lot of my efforts in ways that maybe didn't grow the business as much as it could have, or kept keeping me focused. Those of you who have looked at my LinkedIn page or anything see that throughout these years I've done many, many different things, taken other projects and other community leadership positions that were sort of related to Modern Tribe, but not really. So I really I had multiple motivations other than money.
Okay, and that kind of flows right into selling.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah. Again, I wanted to. I had a social mission. I think I achieved a lot of the social mission, which was bringing a retail experience that was more typical of what people would experience in the secular world. to the Jewish world. The brick and mortar store was a complete financial flop, but it was a wonderful social intervention. Um, Again, I know that my buyers probably aren't interested in that so much, but that might explain a little bit of the direction that I took the business in, and probably something that you may not be interested in doing yourself. However, I feel like I've kind of achieved that social mission and I'm ready to do other things. I love starting things, I love being creative, and I just never wanted to run the business day to day, and I don't. My employees really do. And I think that with the right owner, I think it has potential to be a lot bigger and have more impact. I think that the brand itself, Modern Tribe, it has an amazing reputation in our community. We have super fans that shop with us all the time, and obviously it's a small group of people, but I just think if it was in the right hands with somebody with more resources and maybe some fresh energy and maybe more access to larger Jewish communities, they could do a better job and grow the company. I think the brand of Modern Tribe has value, and you can see some of that like in our reviews and our social media and that kind of thing.
Okay, and I'm sorry. Okay, that's good. Any
Okay.
Okay, no other questions there, but regarding that, last call for questions. Anyone listening live, I need the questions now, as the next slide is my last slide, which will have all my contact information. Jenny, I'll start here. You did a great job, even though
Okay.
some questions were asked, a lot of questions were answered when before I had to ask them. If you understand that, so good job in doing that. I'm going to advance, waiting for any questions. This is me, Adam Beebe. That's my cell phone. That's my email address. That's my Skype. I'm Eastern Time Zone. I work a lot. Please get back to me, and I can definitely send you. And I haven't mentioned, we do have a prospectus on this site. Anyone can know that by visiting the listing on Latona's and click the widget requesting a prospectus. We will need to have a signed NDA in order for me to send that to you, but that can be done digitally via EchoSign, so it's not a problem. As mentioned, a recording of this will be live, will be available to be viewed as a recording on Latona's. It'll be up ideally tonight, if not within easily by noon Eastern tomorrow. So I don't see any other questions. Jenny, again, thank you very much for your time and your effort. You did a great job.
Thank you, Adam.
I'm
Thank you. Thank you.
excited that as mentioned, we do have a lot of interest in the site and the business. So anyone listening to this, please contact me directly so we can get your questions answered quickly and fully. So Jenny, thanks a lot. I'll keep in touch.
Okay. Thank you, Adam.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.